Hello and welcome.
Welcome.
This is the second episode of the Dream on Purpose podcast. I'm Cannon Wagner.
And I'm in Dr. Clint Stankiewicz, Master Certified Life Coach. It's been a while since we've been back, doing a video together. So looking forward to it. Very excited. Particularly some of the content we got worked out for today.
Yeah, we've been. I think it's time to circle back to the content. We've been doing a lot in our daily lives, and building a foundation for ourselves to really come back and make Dream on Purpose what it's supposed to be. So yeah, if you want to just, how's life been? How have you been?
Life's been great. And not to say that there's not been ups and downs, right? I don't say that to be facetious because life's going to happen. Life has happened. Similarly, to some of what we talked about before, my attitude, my mindset has everything to do with that. I have to, and I recognize, our folks can't see it over there, but my meditation has been a big part of my life, big part of my recovery, big part of my own mental fitness, right, is sort of those spiritual practices. And it's just sort of been interesting, right, because life has continued to happen, and I've sort of seen and be able to build this foundation where it's actually kind of working, it's kind of actually working.
I feel that.
Because
it's surreal.
We're out here in the real world, as it were, with things happening. There's certainly plenty of struggles. Financial, relational, social, otherwise, that, work occupationally and all these other things. And for the first time, I'm sort of undaunted by them. I'm sort of,
what does that mean?
I'm not affected in the way that I used to be. They're not a reason. The old Clint, right, would sort of set those things up and use those for excuses to
hold on to them.
Yeah, hold on to them, right? And then I'm gonna get drunk and high, right? I mean, that's what Clint used to know how to do.
I'm gonna be a dick.
I'm gonna be a dick, right? It's a setup for that to ruin my life and sort of end up in some spots that I don't want to.
Yeah.
And I'm done living that way, and the best news is, like, I didn't get sober to be miserable. So I'm so glad that I feel the way that I feel now. And
It's
I'm
surreal.
So grateful.
It really is. Sometimes it kind of knocks me off balance how, this is just the beginning, and I feel so good internally, mentally. There's just this underlying current of unshakable peace. No matter what's going on, I could be mad, sad, upset, but there's always this home that I can go to, and getting sober and understanding that I'm in control. I've always been in control of my life, to an extent, but giving myself the power back, that's, it goes against everything that we're taught in AA and everything, but knowing that I'm in control, like that my actions, compound into, what my life is today, it really knocks me off balance because I'm just so grateful to be able to experience this all off of my own, fruition. And is that a good word?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. I love
vocabulary teacher. I'm always asking you things like that. But no. So we've been a little busier and, a little bit of a geological change for me. Geological, whatever.
Geographical.
Same thing. But we're coming back together. As you guys may have noticed, I've tried to ramp up the content a little bit. I have so much I want to say to you guys, and I'm starting to realize that it's a lot easier to say that when I'm saying it to somebody instead of just holding my phone. I'm getting better at doing the phone thing and just, on the fly, being as authentic as possible, talking to my phone, but it's still kind of cringy. I'm usually the guy behind the camera, It's a jump for me to switch sides and really just talk to the camera, but I feel like I have so much I need to say just off of how I feel today. We've known each other since the beginning of this, and we've seen the steady increase of growth, of evolution of who we are. I've watched you grow, you've watched me grow, and it feels good to come back together and give it away,
Yeah, I mean, it's been a privilege to watch. I mean, you've been instrumental, and again, the individual videos are great and that content, but this is where it all started, right?
Oh,
You
yeah.
and I kind of talking in the room,
On the
back
Freedom
at
House
Freedom
van,
House,
dude.
on the van, at Duncan, at these various places where we used to be, and here we are back together. So I mean that just feels tremendous.
Awesome.
But one of the big shocks is, as you were talking about that, some of the changes in your life, I was reflecting. There was a time in my life where for me, I really evaluated my life by stuff, what I had, right? I don't have a whole lot in my bank account right now. There's probably one car between us. But you know what? I see what I have today. My attention's focused on what I have, right? I mean, I have a roof over my head. I have a good friend, great friend that I'm talking to. I have people that I can kind of confide in today. The bills are paid. So yeah, and these were things that I would have defined in my past as well. Clint, it's kind of a big failure. I mean, unless you're making your six figures, unless you're driving your BMW, unless you got a Rolex on your wrist, unless there's whatever in your bank account, as defined by stuff and by things. I don't find happiness in those things anymore. No. It's my connections that I have with other people. It's my connections that I have with myself, right? And through that, my spirituality.
Yeah. No, because this is where God is. In the day-to-day, really heartfelt, authentic conversations, even if they're not super deep, because me and you can really take it to another level. There's not anything that I'm afraid or wouldn't bring to you. It doesn't matter, esoteric, whatever it is, as deep as I can go, I can take it with you. But even in day-to-day conversations with other people that are just authentic and real, the connection is where God is, and it's real.
Yeah, and I'm grateful for it, particularly in people that are trying to seek. I mean, because you definitely find what you're looking for, right? And we've talked about that in different contexts. But before I was looking for and finding the wrong things and wondering why, thinking I had bad luck and poor me. It's crazy these things are happening for me. Well, it's a direct result of what I'm choosing to pay attention to, where I'm putting my energy, and those sort of things. And when I put the energy back into myself and back into God, it's just, that's meant all the difference. That's meant all the difference.
You said something yesterday while we were in the car that was like, all the money that you had, it wasn't your money. It was God's, and that really hit me, because I think a couple months ago I said that I know as I grow and as I kind of fill the role, that will evolve and I will have more to give, and I will have more to help and just share with, and I think the only thing I truly do have is my attention, and you can see it in our day-to-day lives, the people that used to come to me, the interactions I used to have just, out and about on a whim, just random interactions, they're totally different today. The people I run into or that reach out today are completely different people, and it's all because of where I'm putting my attention. It's not on I want this thing or that thing, or I want to feel this way or that way. It's just accepting today, being grateful for today, and trying to build real meaningful connections with people.
Well, you said something there, and I want to hear a little bit more. And I in particular, am asking it because I don't want those out there down. It almost sounds like your energy, if you will, right, is shifted and is sort of attracting different things, different opportunities, different people. So, I wonder if you can speak to that piece a little bit more, as opposed to what it was and where that's at now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of this journey, I stumbled upon like esoteric teachings and the law of attraction and things like that, and a couple of things jumped out at me that the only thing I truly have to give in this world is my attention. That's gonna bring anything else to me, and understanding that everything is all made of the same energy. You know, it's all energy, and looking at things as energy or frequency or, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I get lost, but yeah, I don't know.
No, I mean, I hear that your energy changed and sort of attracting different things, and just to sort of put that in maybe more concrete terms, it was interesting because it popped in there. I'm like, I used to wonder, like, oh man, why can't I get clean? Why can't I get sober before? Why can't I kick this? Well, dude, all you're thinking about is getting high. All you're thinking is about stupid stuff, thinking about cocaine, thinking about alcohol, thinking about getting money for those things. So my whole world nucleated around this very small world. And so, of course, everything that kind of came in, I didn't care about anything else. Family, friends, it's kind of keeping them away. And then I didn't see it. I was protecting that, right? I was protecting that ball of negativity that only let negativity in. Because then the only things come of that, money, that I'm only talking to the people that can supply, or add to what I wanted, right? Because nothing's going to change if I don't change where my attention's going. If I don't change my thinking, nothing's going to change, and nothing did. And I couldn't, for the life of me, I couldn't figure it out. Because I think if you would have said to me, yeah, right, I think I got $1 trillion right now, it doesn't happen. So therefore, this doesn't work. Well, that's not exactly how it works.
This kind of leads into what we were talking about yesterday and what we wanted to talk about in the podcast is the connection between mind, body, and spirit. I tend to malfunction when I'm put on the spot, but I do.
You do it great.
But, it really, you don't get what you want. You get what you are. And whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. All of these things are connected. It's not just I sit on the couch and say I'm a fucking trillionaire 150 times a day, or I write it down, or I do all these affirmations and everything. It's not just taking massive action towards whatever goal that's in front of me or just output. It's a combination of where's my mind, where's my body, and where's my spirit. And this has really made sense for me in the past week or two. I've known the connection between the two, but I thought of it as if they were separate. I thought of it as, I guess I didn't really do a deeper dive into that intellectually. And I guess the way life has gone the past couple of weeks, this kind of just made sense. I just got it now that, and thinking about money differently too, relating money. Now I think of it, I've been watching a lot of anime. I've been thinking about money as if my power, my energy in this 3D realm, this physical realm, for me to make, moves, connections, purchase, whatever, for me to bring things out, for me to move energy, this is my power. The money is the power. And, to build your power, to build your energy. And it's not like I'm going to sit here and play video games for 15 hours a day because that's just a terrible way to use my energy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use my money on, buying 50 million vapes or a bunch of garbage because it's not a good way to use my energy. I'm also, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. And I think...
Everyone's talking about spiritual currency in a sense.
Yeah.
Right? This kind of idea of your attention is spiritual currency, and where am I choosing to put it? Where am I choosing to allocate that? And an interesting thing is even science. You can't feel too bad about yourself because even science, we really struggle with the mind-body, disconnect. It's probably only in the last 25, 30 years that we're like, oh, the mind and body are connected. And as we've been talking about, I maintain that within the next 100 years, they'll prove that the mind, body, and I'm hoping a lot sooner. The mind, body, and spirit are all indeed one.
Yeah. The beginning of this, I realized that I'm not just this body. I'm not the name. I'm not the arm. I'm the spirit. I'm the life force that animates this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And having that understanding, I got kind of too caught up in the spiritual. Not too caught up because it served its purpose, and I learned as much as I'm still learning, but I really went deep into the woods with the spirituality, and I kind of let some other things fall behind, and just kind of not understanding how to move in this existence. The biggest thing that I have to say is remember how weird it is to be alive. You know, on a daily basis, take a moment and realize that, like, this is strange to be a human being, to be a person on a planet in space, you know, like to be talking to this, to everything that
weird looking computer.
Exactly. We could go on for days and days and days about how strange it is to be a human being. And I've always had that feeling, but when I was using, it was scared. It was, you know, I think society tries to deny how weird it is because it is kind of a scary existence when you look at it from that lens of like, this is just, well, there's no explaining this unless you look at it through a spiritual lens. And that only does so much explaining still, you know, you kind of have to just, you know, have some faith that there's a reason for all of this. And yeah, that has been the biggest help. And I always thought of it as like, I couldn't explain it to people. When I was using, there was this period of my life for 2 years where like I got so terrified of being alive, of existence, of like, and nobody got what I was talking about. And I thought that was going to ruin me. And in a way it did, because if there's no point to life, then I'm just going to go for pleasure. I'm just going to go for love and the good things. And I didn't understand the difference between love and pleasure. You know, so I just went for pleasure, thinking, not really being intentional about what I was getting it from, if it was coming from like real wholesome, joyful things, or if it was drugs and alcohol, you know,
right.
or excitement and things like that. So it did take me to exactly where I needed to go, but a very dark place within myself, in jail cells and you know, treatment and things like that. But it also has been my biggest help. You know, it's helped me so much to look at life as like not taking it so seriously, because at the end of the day, what even is this, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, you make a good point, right? Because particularly going back to that mind, body, spirit thing, right? I mean, when we're seeking, you know, hedonic, hedonistic pleasures, right? You know, sex, drugs, rock and roll type of thing. That's the brain. That's dopamine. That's very body related, right? So we're splitting that off from then the spiritual and the, you know what I'm saying? And it's also not good for the physical body. There's the brain. So we're kind of splitting off there in a sense anyway, you know, and there's, interestingly enough, there's spiritual practices through like things like Tai Chi, things like yoga that are very spiritual, you know, emphasizing. And that's why I think they all, you know, this sense of alignment is so important. And, you know, I think probably a lot of people are out there like, well, you know, these guys are talking God, they're talking energy, what the hell do they believe in? And I think that's confusing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's probably still confusing for me a little bit,
yeah,
but you know what I mean? Still figuring it out. But you know, I think the important thing is asking the questions, and we were talking before this a little bit. It's my life experience that brought me to the understanding, and it's not one. I mean, I think religion, unfortunately, you know, has got a little bit of a bad rap. I think we've given it a bad rap. I think it might provide a type of a foundation for people to use, but then it should break off into your own individualistic understanding of that, your own individual relationship. It's been said that God is within each of us.
Yeah.
And I believe that. And sort of getting in touch with what that is for me is going to be different, you know, and as we've discussed, we had so many discussions about, well, that's your experiences. You know, we have some similarities, but there's also some differences. And I find that, you know, for the religious types out there, you know, my understanding doesn't fit neatly into these little boxes, which I don't think that was ever the point. I don't think that's where, I think it gives you a starting point to sort of, you know, a nice little kind of, you know, like, all right, go fly now, you know, little birdie, and figure this out on your own. But there's so many different components, and I think, you know, emphasizing or forcing, you know, isn't really where it's at. You know, it certainly hasn't been for me, but I will say that understanding that and bringing my body and mind in alignment with the spirituality has everything to do with the fact that I'm talking to you today, sober, clear-minded, and happy.
The alignment piece is huge. I've talked about that with you a lot. It's just staying in alignment serves me better than anything else, making sure that I have that peace of mind, that I feel good physically, that I have the faith, and knowing that everything is working for my highest good. And I've been able to find alignment by building my own philosophy, and I think that's huge. It's a very important piece of trying to transform your life, trying to do what you've never done before, trying to jump out of the matrix rat race life. Success is doing what you want to do. To me, I think you can have all the car, the Rolex, all these things, but if you're not happy doing it, are you really successful? I don't think so. And in my eyes, that just seems like a lie.
Yeah,
it seems painful.
I wasn't the person I wanted to be. I wasn't a good person. My grandmother always said, whatever you do, whatever, successful, I just want you to be a good person. And I couldn't look in the mirror then and believe that. And today I live by a different code,
Yeah.
and I live in a spiritual fashion. And again, we're not two guys sitting here in a pile of money telling you life's all gravy. We're saying we've been to the bottom.
Yeah, dude.
We're not that far above it, to forget where we came from, and we're just getting by here, but we're doing great.
We're doing great.
You know what I'm saying? And that's where it comes from. It's just like, hey, things could be, but it's just a matter of what you choose to pay attention to. It has everything to do with what you think, feel, and behave, and that's where your energy goes. You find what you're looking for. You want to find misery? There's plenty of that. You want to find some drugs, some quick. Quick pleasures, you're going to find that. But if you want to find some grounding, you want to find a foundation, you want to find, again, happiness, I don't even like the word. They use the term joy in the Bible, and I like that. I think it's less of this sort of fleeting. It's just sort of a fullness of heart. I don't know, the best way I can describe it. You know what I'm saying?
I feel
a fullness
joy
of
is
heart.
a more natural state.
Yeah.
Where happiness is kind of an excitement. Where pleasure will always bring you pain because it will leave you and it can't last forever. But joy is a home that you can always come home to. Like that underlying peace that I have.
Love that.
And joy.
And they use that word a lot in the Bible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I definitely love that. That word. I think that's our natural state of being. And
I think at the end of the day, it's make sure that you make sense for you, not for the world, not for anybody else. I've had to make sense for me, and in doing that, I've been able to find alignment. Building my own philosophy has allowed me to find alignment with my higher power, with my heart and my mind, and then actually being able to embody that and act out here in the world with purpose, with a sense of well-being and love for myself and love for others. It's been key, and as I look back, everything happens for a reason, and everything I went through happened for a reason. I do not regret a single thing. I take every step, the same step, to get right here today and to get to where I know that I'm going. But having to sit in that cell or in treatment or talk to this guy on a van in the halfway house really just allowed me to try a bunch of different philosophies, to look into a bunch of different religions, to take the 12 steps in the anonymous groups and their traditions and implement them in my life, see what worked for me so that I could find alignment. I think that the fastest way to realizing your dreams or living a life with purpose is to dream on purpose. The name for this company, for this brand it means something very near and dear to my heart. It's not just some catchy phrase. It's, if I don't dream on purpose, how can I sit here and talk to you guys? It's my daily life. It's me reaching for the potential that I know lives in all of us.
Yeah, I love that. It's sort of the heart reaching out for infinity, right? You know, I love that I just said that.
That's hard. That's a bar.
Because that's what it is, and and as we're talking, because I remember a lot of times, people are like, Can's run his own program, program's an interesting word because, listen, I don't like programs are something you can start and stop, right? I mean, I'm someone who,
That's big.
I used to be heavy growing up, dieted, lost weight.
My life is not a diet.
Was on a program of sorts, and it wasn't until I made lasting change in all other areas of my life that I was able to live a different life. So yeah, for me, this isn't about a program. There's a meditation because this is how I live today.
Yeah.
I don't have to think. It happens automatically. It's very strange. I connect with the people that I need to connect with, the important people in my life, like you, the people that are speaking life into things. People are talking about
adding to.
Adding to people talking about ideas.
Builders.
People who see solutions, not stumbling blocks. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's just, I find it happens. I don't really feel like I'm putting any effort into it.
Something interesting happens. You've become the version of you that does these things without it being so tiresome or trying. Something interesting happens when you decide to change your mind. When you listen to that voice that says you can. You either continue to think this way, and your body is an extension of your mind, and your mind is an extension of your soul, so it starts up here in your soul. If you listen to this, it'll go into your mind, and you'll receive the insight to act and make these decisions. And if you do make these decisions and you stand on them, they will radiate out through your body and into your action, and it'll just become second nature. Your body being an extension of your mind, it holds those parts of you that can drive the car while not really paying attention. That can, that does things while your mind is off in space. It becomes, it learns, it holds the programs, the code that allows you to live in that way. And like I said, you don't get what you want, you get what you are. So you have to become this version of you.
And that's where the alignment is, I think. When, that's the, becoming that I think you're talking about. I think that's the living, in the spirit, mind, body, and spirit aligned. It's not all the time. It's not rainbows and puppy dogs around here, but it's a palpable feeling, and it's something that's there that I can feel that's different. I'm like, that's what that is. That's alignment, and that's nothing I want to trade in. That's a more fulfilling, meaningful experience to me than any high ever was.
Yeah. Any
other worldly feeling ever was. It's being right. Right with God, I guess, for lack of a better word, and it's something that is it's unparalleled.
That's huge. I just want to touch on this real quick. Is that how do you find alignment, or how do you I know that these three key pieces of myself there's no separation between them, but how do I know how to act in the mind, I know how to act in the body, I know how to do good for these parts of myself and stay in alignment for these parts, eat right, don't consume mentally or things that are toxic for my mind, but how do I embody that soul piece of myself?
Right.
And it's really just having that connection with your higher power. It's really just, no matter what's going on in your daily life, not worrying about what's around you, but what's above you. And in your actions, you act through feeling. You act through, is this going to be okay with my higher power? Am I going to be able to live with this when it comes to my connection with my higher power? And through that, I feel like that's helped me act. It's allowed me to set boundaries. It's allowed me to, people, places, and things. It's really helped me act in a certain way, like not eat garbage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it drives everything at some point, you know what I'm saying? Because that's where, I feel like it's sort of God coming through us and that stuff, and it's my goal that becomes visible over time, to other people, and that's what it's all about, I really think that's the crux of it right there.
The crux. But yeah, I guess on that note, we'll resume back here in a little while. It's been real.
Yeah, it's been nice connecting with you guys. Any questions? Feel free to reach out. If any either one of us could do anything for one, listen. We're just a connection away.
Yeah,
reach
feel free,
out.
dude. I love talking to people, and if there's any way,
Questions, insights, even if you disagree, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
You agree? What was your experience? We want to know about it, you know?
Let's keep the conversation going.
Let's keep the conversation going, man.
I do.
All right, you guys have a blessed day.
Dream on purpose.